that is open to nationwide, and they're trying to keep it in Florida as much as they can. And that's for teachers doing creative projects in the classroom. So when I give you my card, I mean, there's a lot of funds out there that you have to be a teacher to even go after. If you don't know how to go after those funds, we can be a resource for you. I'm sure that Eckerd College has people that can be a resource to help you break into writing those grants or filling out those forms. Usually they're a one-sheeter. But a lot of to answer your question specifically, especially in Kentucky, I was in Ohio for most of my career, right at the Kentucky-Indiana border in Cincinnati. Kentucky has been known for saying, you know what, our systems are poor, but what we do have is a lot of the heritage arts and the craft arts. And they began to seek out, not what people would normally say, oh, the artist is coming in, but the quilt maker that you maybe don't know is in your community, and suddenly they're coming in and they're teaching that craft again to the students, but they're making crafts that tell the history of, they're making a quilt that has the history of Florida on it, or they're making a quilt that's based on geometric shapes as a crossover with math. I mean, quilts are phenomenal ways to teach all the different subject matter. So it's also saying what possible rural craft artist, a whittler, a puppet maker, a wood sculptor, don't consider that you have to go high art, what is considered high art. Ballet.
Well, she already said she utilizes her youth minister or your
He's the band director.
Yeah, exactly. So again, utilizing the folks in your community play at your church that have talents in the fiddle or piano, and you'd be surprised at some of those people how many would give of their time. If
and you can bring people in, and yes, we would love to come in and help you gather those people and say, okay, here's how you structure it so it becomes an integration and an infusion program for you and creates a movement within. And we tend to not start unless we think we can start small and let it grow. It'll be magnificent if you start it that way. Another feel-good story was this year at Skycrest. Once again, I have to keep saying it, you know, I think it's 87% of them are free and reduced lunch. And they went in to Gina Sullivan, who is the visual arts specialist, and it was right after Haiti. And they were all upset because all of those children that they saw at their homes, you know, and most of these children there's like 5 families in one house, especially with the Mexican children at Skycrest. And they wanted to know what they could do. So they came up with this project. It's called Houses for Haiti. And these were all made by the visual arts teacher and the children at Skycrest. And then they approached me and said, well, Miss Joyce, can we sell them at Ruth Eckerd Hall? And we raised over $500 to send down to Haiti on behalf of the children at Skycrest. And so before you take your break, if you put your name on a little piece of paper, I'm going to draw someone can take it home for Hades, house home with them. She does a special project like this with the kids every year. It started with FCAT dolls because the children were feeling so bad about the FCAT. The anxiety level. And so they kind of look like a little voodoo doll.
They weren't though, but
they weren't.
They're a rubbing doll actually, just the opposite of the stabbing. It was a soothing doll.
There's a South American doll. They're like a worry doll that they made. And Jared, that I mentioned before, wrote this little poem about, you know, you can do it and you're great, and you know, it's just this. You know, and it had this rhythm so that they could kind of memorize the poem. And they all made their own and then they, and you know you're not allowed to take anything but the pencil in, right? But the teachers were like, just put it in your pocket, just put it in your pocket. And they said it was just amazing how often you would see they, get that face like, I don't know this, and they'd start going like this, rubbing their ascot off. That God's pocket was over here. No, rubbing their ascot off, and then Nicole goes in and teaches them a right song.
The fourth graders, right, teach a song about the expository writing. And
Go ahead, come on.
No, it just basically gives you everything you need to know, from even indenting to cap, it's just a very simple song. But it's set to the Run Around Sue,
Don't you think she should do it?
Yeah. Oh my goodness gracious.
Come on.
All right, I'll give you a little sample. I'll even do the choreography, because it's got simple choreography to it. But so I'll read and understand the prompt and plan what I'll say. Now I'm ready to begin to write, shout hooray. Indent and state my topic, that's what I'll write about. I'll create an interesting lead, have no doubt. Right. I'm a writer, right. A great writer. Next part is the body. Kids love that part. Moving on to body part 1. And then can use a word or a transitional phrase. First, foremost, for instance, then on to the next phase. Use supporting details and include your wow words. Be sure to stay on topic, let my best voice be heard. And then we go on, right. And we go through each body part. And at the end, we do the summary and wrapping it up. And we give them 3 transition word choices in the song. Summary choices of how to start the summary. Reminding them constantly, stay on topic, which they have a hard time doing in 4th grade. They veer off. So anyways, during the whole year, we start learning the song. We learn the choreography. What Joyce was alluding to is by the time they're taking the Florida Residence in February, the teachers can see them bebopping to the song in their head, reminding themselves to use, what's that word? Okay, first, then second, and thirdly, or whatever they wanted to do. First, foremost, for instance, whatever one they use, and then they go in their brains, they can see them actually processing the song, processing it through, adding it to their knowledge, and then what we have found in the years we've used that tool, it is just, their writing
scores.
They've
even got a
6s.
couple perfect 6s from non-English speaking students. So
it's been, they have to have, like anything, y'all, they have to have the knowledge. But with the encouragement and then with the fun that they are perceiving by doing the song, and I do it in 4th grade, and I walk in and I say, we're going to learn a song, and the first thing that happens is all the girls are like, woohoo, and all the guys are like, But what happens is, by the time they start moving, all the girls are like, whatever, and the boys are like, watch me go, yeah, and they're like, they get so into it. The kids that could be no more cool at the beginning, like, I'm not going to move. By the end, and a lot of it is because I am a goofball, and I will model goofiness throughout the year, and then they start to own their own individuality. But the boys will jam it, and they're usually the ones that are tapping the foot, tapping the pencil to the right test. And it becomes so ingrained in their body.
Yeah,
so that's kind
it does.
Do you have
So-
the song? Do you have
I do have the
link
song.
to
I
it, or-
don't have it linked up anywhere. What really happened was originally it was written at a different organization that I worked for years ago, and we got the rights to use it in this one class, and I've just kind of been teaching it in that class year after year after year after year after year after year. It's a great tool, and I would happily email it to anybody. And if you're not afraid to sing it, because I never even take in music, I just sing it with my own best knowledge of how keep away from a run round Sue, and I just, as long as you get that down,
Now, see,
they
you
don't
can
care.
do that without a music teacher, right?
Yeah, you can do that without a music teacher. You might not want to do it. You might not want to do it, but you can do it. Yeah. See, again, don't be afraid to be wrong, and then don't be afraid to be silly. Well, let's give them a 5-minute break before we start the creative classroom, because I know I need to use the facility. So let's figure out how we can get out. And we'll come back and do some more.